Good morning, good morning. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining again. Very nice to have you guys join me every morning, or at least most mornings, trying to make it more of a routine thing, where we take a look at the major headlines in the markets and take a look at the assets that are being influenced by those headlines. We take a look at the institutional buying and selling that is taking place on the charts and try to give you a better perspective on what is taking place in these markets. Okay. So if you find these sessions helpful, please help me by hitting the like button and subscribing. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever we do a live session. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Lots going on in this market. As you could see, we have a lot of big headlines. We have Google again in the on the main page here of Yahoo Finance. We got Nvidia, Amazon. These are some of the tickers that we were looking at yesterday and the preceding days. We got Bitcoin again, Coin. Coin was one that I mentioned because we have a very unique situation with MSTR and we have Bitcoin both coming into major institutional buying zones. And so it is expected that price should make a massive move to the upside very, very soon. At least we're watching for the signal when that takes place. But so far, what I see taking place on the chart is it's very positive that the banks are buying, and we're likely going to get that long signal. So let's take a look at what we have. U.S. stocks futures steady as rate cut conviction runs high. Dow Jones. I don't think we looked at the Dow Jones. Yeah, I think we did. Maybe not yesterday, but recently we have. And what we can definitely see is that on the weekly time frame, we have some institutional buying that is taking place here. Okay. Here's a major institutional buying zone right across here. And as you can see, we contacted it once and contacted it twice. And now we're getting that push to the upside. So, you come across social media sometimes and you see people posting that the markets are going to drop 20% or this is the beginning of the big drop in the market. Anybody who knows anything that's based in reality about the market knows that you could not ever even contemplate or even make an assumption that there's going to be a major drop in the markets if you knew what you were looking at, okay? Nothing of the nature could happen as long as this institutional demand zone is in play, period. You couldn't say that. Now, it'd be a different story if price came down, broke through institutional demand, and then we saw them coming in with massive selling, and then price came up and was here, okay? In a situation like that, yes, you could look at price and say, there's nothing to stop price from dropping from that area until we get down to here. And then you can make a calculation of what kind of a percentage drop that would be. And then you'd have grounds to make a claim like that. But when institutional demand is in play, and I hear people making claims like that, it immediately tells me that they don't have a clue what they're talking about. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people like that don't have a clue of what they're talking about. So this is extremely bullish. This chart is extremely bullish, right? There's nothing to worry about in terms of whether or not markets are going to be collapsing or not. I don't see any sign of that whatsoever. Okay, companies make 71,000 layoffs in worst November since 2022. Amazon. Okay, well, let's take a look at Amazon. I don't think much has changed in Amazon since we looked at it yesterday. But I was warning you guys that we have potential profit taking because of this long term target that was contacted. So we got to be very careful with that. I wouldn't go long unless I saw new buying coming in. So could we see a drop in price? It's possible. We do have some significant demand that I was mentioning to you yesterday. that has been playing out quite nicely, but we don't see any move past these highs here, okay? The last time demand was contacted, it took us up to that target where banks were likely taking profits on their long positions right here, okay? So now it's coming back and testing that demand. Doesn't mean that price is going to go up. They could remove this demand and they could drop price, okay? And just putting that out there. I wouldn't touch it right now. Google, Alphabet's AI chips are potential $900 billion secret sauce. So we were talking about Google yesterday. I don't think much has changed with respect to that. Looks like we're gapping up this morning. I still got that really nice demand zone here on the weekly time frame. That is an area that I'd be interested in buying if price was to get down there. And obviously, Nvidia is tied into this. And I mentioned to you before, there's no institutional demand on the weekly time frame, okay, until we get down here. And that's quite a distance from where we are. So it's very possible that over time we see price decline, okay? On the daily time frame, there's no institutional demand there. So, you know, if price was to do what the charts are suggesting it will do, that would be a drop in price. So I'm not touching that right now. Bitcoin heads into 2026 with renewed acceptance and volatility. Yeah, do you see the headlines? Do you see the news that's being constantly broadcasted out there? Bitcoin is being adopted by just about everybody, okay? And what's really interesting, I posted an article that you must read in the Telegram channel and on my Twitter feed that Bitcoin dropped from over 120,000 down to about 80,000. And right as this drop took place, what happened was all the major banks came out with products encouraging their clients to buy Bitcoin. Now, remember, I've been telling you, okay, for the longest time that the big institutions are the ones that control the markets, okay? And they are trading money on behalf of themselves and on behalf of their clients. And a lot of their clients are old money families that have had a lot of money for a long time, okay? Yes, there's a lot of family offices out there that manage money for the super rich as well. And they are all part of what I'm talking about, okay? But the big banking institutions that are controlling the markets, that own majority stake of media companies and so forth, they are the ones that are controlling the markets, okay? This drop in Bitcoin was a controlled drop, okay? When Bitcoin drops down to these lows, and we have Jim Cramer on Q coming out saying, "Oh, you know, this is really bad. This is really bad. We got still a lot more people that need to offload their positions." Encouraging, instilling fear in people right down here, okay? This was all, you know, premeditated. This is all set up, in my opinion, okay? I don't have proof of it, but when you see these things happen over and over again, you know, it always points to the same conclusion. You know, they're working together. So then we get the big drop. All of a sudden, they come out with all these products, and they're encouraging their clients to buy, and for good reason, because according to institutional supply and demand analysis, we are expecting for this to happen. All right. There's somebody that posted something I saw on social media where they said this is the last time you'll be able to buy Bitcoin under $90,000. And I read that and I said, you know what? That's a very, very big possibility. Very, very big possibility. Okay. We are now contacting institutional supply right here. Okay. Which suggests that we're going to be getting another drop. And this is something that I've been talking about, you know, if you've been following the live sessions. We had the drop, very weak RSI. So it would require a rally, which we got. And then it required another drop. Last week I told you that there was going to be a drop, okay? Or was it the previous week? When did the drop take place? Let me see. This was December 1st, which was, yeah, this week. Last week I told you, watch next week because price is going to drop, okay? And that's exactly what took place, the drop. But I told you it was going to be followed by a rally. Okay. And that's what we got, right? So now it's producing the stronger RSI. This is institutional buying, folks. Okay. We use the RSI very differently. This is institutional buying taking place right here. Okay. All throughout here. Institutional buying. So one more drop is going to produce an RSI at around 40. And when that happens, it's like, the accumulation of a position. They accumulate and then price drops. They accumulate a little bit more, price drops. And then right when their accumulation has reached a point where they're ready to shoot price to the upside, we typically see RSI coming to around 40. Okay, this is something that's repeatable. We've been doing it for some time now, and it's just remarkable how accurate it is. So very good possibility that we see another drop in Bitcoin and from this area. And then afterwards, remember I told you I gave us a date of December 11th that the breakout to the upside was going to take place from. So what's about to happen, if indeed this drop happens, and I believe it will, there's going to be a situation where price drops. It's going to base, and then there's going to be some type of bullish momentum candle produced. And that's going to be the signal to get into a long position. And so there will be a way to drop this chart down to a lower time frame. We're going to be looking at a 1 hour time frame, and I'm going to be pinpointing the exact spot where price is about to shift momentum to the upside, and I'm going to take a trade on it. And it's going to be a massive trade. I mean, I was talking to students about this, and I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to give away too much. If you want to know the full details, become a student and I'll share with you the full details. But we have targets on Bitcoin at 148, okay? And as a very reasonable target. So what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at, the drop down to this area, give or take, okay? And then there's going to be a bullish signal on a smaller time frame, and this will allow me to get into a position based on very small risk, something like this. Looking at this situation here and what it created, it's going to probably be about this much risk. Okay, if I get into that position and I target the target that I have above at 148 and hold this position right through, okay, we're looking at a, it seems ridiculous, but look, a 59 to 1 risk to reward. I mean, it's possible, okay? It's possible because what's about to happen here is we're going from one time frame to the next, to the next, to the next, to locate the exact area on a 1 hour time frame where price is going to shift momentum to the downside or to the upside, okay? It's going to shift the momentum to the downside from here, right? We're already starting to see that. Look at the RSI. See how aggressive here? All right, look at these rallies. Less aggressive, less aggressive. Look at this rally here, okay? 64. Look at this last push up here, right here. Now we're getting 56. That's that 60 area. This would suggest that this low is going to be surpassed and price is going to start making its move. If this low is surpassed here, we're likely going to get that drop. And then the daily time frame is going to produce a signal, and that daily time frame signal is not going to be bad. I mean, it's probably going to produce something about this big, which is going to give me an 11-hour trade, okay? Aiming for this up here, 148. 11 hours great. Okay, 11 hours great. And if it's a smaller area, then great. But I don't think the risk area is going to be smaller than that. Based on previous price action, it's probably going to be, give or take, something like this. Okay. And we can stretch this out a little bit more up to there. Yeah. So 11, 12 R, give or take, right? But the important thing is that when price comes down here and creates this bullish signal for us, down here, when we got the drop base before the rally, down in this basing, is where we're going to be looking for the signal on that lower time frame. Okay, it's likely going to be on the 1 hour time frame. I would put my money on it, and I am going to put my money on it. It's going to be on the 1 hour time frame. The reason why I'm sharing it with you is so that you see before it happens the logic that I'm telling you, the logic that I'm applying, the reasoning, okay, the thinking behind all of this, right? This is all thanks to Sherlock analysis, okay? Sherlock analysis and the Sherlock analysis process, we have been able to discover all these things by basically examining the markets, bringing in the data, reviewing it, thinking through it logically, applying concepts and principles, and now we have something extremely powerful. Okay, so expecting a move to the downside here in Bitcoin, and this is a pretty decent move. I mean, if I was a short-term trader, you know, something like this could work out quite well. Give or take around here, right? Something like this could work out quite well, right? You might be even to tighten it up like this, but I would do something like that. Okay, this could work out quite well. A 4R trade. Okay. So the reason why I'm telling you this and I'm sharing this with you guys is because I want you to understand the logic that I'm using here, the logic that I'm applying, the thinking behind this move, okay? This could be a massive, massive trade. And I wouldn't mind holding a core position. I've always said I wouldn't mind getting into a position on Bitcoin to hold for a longer period of time because I think, when we look at the monthly time frame, there's nothing to stop price from going higher. There's a lot of predictions that we see out there, and as long as the banks are buying and everybody's getting involved, I don't see how this momentum is going to slow down. So this could be very much be the low of price. And when we look back, and we see this, we're going to be like, oh, damn, I could have bought at 80,000. I could have bought at 85,000. We could be looking back 5, 6, 7 years from now and seeing this at 500,000. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible. Do I think it should be? My opinions are outside of all that. It doesn't matter what my opinion is. It's what's happening on the charts. And this is a big institutional buying zone that price is hitting. So, and I'm not going to ignore that. It is what it is. And I just trade what I see, okay? And this looks really, really bullish to me, okay? This could be the very start of a big move. Very, very easily, okay? And if you can get in on a very, very tight spot, you don't have to. Getting in off a daily time frame is massive, okay? Because, if you want to hold this for a long term, and I will be holding a position for a long term, I'm going to be getting in, to take partial profits at 148 because I think that's the most logical spot that we would likely see some kind of a pullback. And there'll be new institutional demand that I'll be buying at from there to rally for the rally that will come after it. But I think if you can get in off of a 1 hour time frame, 1 to 50, okay, you risk 1,000 to make 50,000. Not too bad, right? Risk 10,000 to make 500,000. Yeah, you think I'm joking? Well, I'll show you. So that is what I am paying attention to with Bitcoin, and I'm giving you a lot of information, man. I hope you hit the like button on this video because what I'm giving to you, nobody's giving it to you. You can surf around the hashtag Bitcoin. Nobody's giving you this information, so I hope you guys appreciate it. Meta hit by EU antitrust probe into AI use in WhatsApp. That's an interesting article. I have not read that article, but I would definitely like to read into that one. Meta looks like it's coming down towards this area of demand. Hasn't yet touched it. Lots of supply came in here on the weekly time frame. Lots of selling. So, if you were to go long down here, this would be your target. Okay, because once supply comes into play, expect to see price push to the downside. So lots of selling here on the weekly time frame. Doesn't look good for a long position as far as I can see. Silver retreats from record high as traders lock in profits. Okay, what did I tell you? I mean, I hope you remember what I was mentioning to you before. Okay, silver. What was I saying to you about silver? Okay. Uh, Tomorrow's headlines revealed to you today. Next week's headlines revealed to you today. I told you. I placed a target there on silver at 59.33, and it wasn't just a random target. That was based on institutional price action, how far price rallied up from institutional demand zones, and recent demand zones that were contacted, and looking at where price has rallied. And we are just nearing this area where we are likely going to see profit taking take place from. Okay, this is the profit taking area. I can display it to you like this. Profit taking area, okay? This area here. So we have to be careful because everybody's talking about silver. It's a hot one. It's going to go higher. All this stuff. Don't fall for this stuff, okay? Because according to what we're seeing, the real data, we're entering into a profit taking zone. So we got to be very careful with that. All right. I wouldn't be touching. I wouldn't be touching this one. Um, Wall Street shifts AI narrative from bubble to air pocket. Interesting. I don't know. There's been a lot of talk about are we in a bubble? I don't know what to say about that. I mean, when we look at Nvidia, what do we say? That there's no big buying coming in. So that's what I take a look at. I don't know if there's bubbles, not bubbles. Things can move as long as the banks are buying it. I don't see proof that they're going to continue buying this one as of yet. So that leads me to suspect that we could see a drop in price. Okay. Let's see. Snowflake shares fall on slower product revenue growth forecast for fourth quarter. So Snow, this is one that I've been tracking. I think it's an interesting one. Let's bring it up. I like the ticker Snow. I was like, Snow, what is this all about? And if you take a look at the monthly time frame, you'll see that I've had this drawn out for some time. If you've been following us and the analysis that we do, you would know that I was tracking two areas. One, institutional demand that was created here, price retraced into institutional demand, and look what they did. They bought and bought and bought until where? Until institutional supply was contacted right here. Institutional supply contacted, and look what took place. Selling. So do you think it's gapping down because of what the headlines are telling you? Or do you think it's gapping down because major institutional supply came into play? Okay? Thing is, when you do historical analysis, you'll find that supply and demand zones hold. Okay? Profit taking happens at supply, institutional buying happens at institutional demand zones. And the headlines mean nothing. Okay? The headlines just help to facilitate what the banking institution is doing. But they were already selling what they bought down here. Institutions bought at 126. They took profits at 280. All right. This is how it works. This is why it's moving to the downside. This is why this move happened here. This is why it's gapping down now. All right. The headlines can say whatever they want to say. I would not be paying attention to that personally. Okay. Look at the earnings. Okay, earnings look pretty good as price was moving on up towards it, but the headlines are saying shares fall on slower product revenue growth. Okay, sure. In one point, they could have the same headline, and they'll have a reason why it's gapping up. And then when it's gapping down, they'll make it seem like, well, it's because of that reason. Well, you know what? I see it all the time, and it's just they'll skew it towards whatever way they want to skew it towards. Okay. Anything of interest? CRM. Okay, so let's start with CRM. Trending tickers. Salesforce. Would I buy it? No. This one was trending the other day as well. We were looking at it. No, I'd be buying it down to 160s. Okay, so we did that one before. Let's look at Snow. We just did. iRobot. What the hell is iRobot? What is going on here? Is this for real? What do they make? I don't know. All I know is that they're at all-time lows. We're seeing a push to the upside. I wouldn't touch it. No, I would not touch it. Path. What's Path do? Let me see. Doesn't look good. When price is reacting from all-time lows, it's not something that I'd like to touch. Okay, all-time lows, no. Unless there's big institutional demand coming in, I wouldn't touch it. Ethereum. Oops. Ethereum. Let's see. Big demand down here, came down to 1400, rallied up. Looks like demand. I normally don't look at this chart, but I know some of you do, so I'll do some analysis here for you. Really quickly. Yeah, we're responding from institutional demand right now, right here. Okay. This is institutional demand here. We are responding to it. So likely we see a push to the upside. This is on the monthly time frame. So we look at the daily and look for the signal. First drop, RSI was quite weak. See it? RSI is 27. Second drop, RSI is at 33. Getting there. We could, oh, this is pretty much like Bitcoin. Another drop, RSI at 40. Guess what happens? Boom. Okay. Good chance we'll see that. Very good chance we will see that. Okay, my friends. Hopefully that was helpful. I think I shared with you a lot of information and giving you a lot of insight. I'm giving you a lot here. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want you guys to learn. I want you guys to see the market through a different perspective. Because once you see this stuff, the way that we see it, you'll never be able to look at the markets the same way again. And that's the point here, is I want you to see the markets through a different lens. Because once you see what's really happening behind the headlines, behind all the noise, it'll change your trading forever. Okay? And then eventually you decide whenever you want to join the school to learn these concepts and principles that I keep talking to you about. And wait and behold, your trading will change forever. All right? You take care. It was nice having you this morning. It was a pleasure, as always, to be with you this morning. Love spending time with you guys. Arrivederci. Come to the Telegram channel if you want more information. All right? Take care, everybody. Have a good one.